Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. Today in this video we are going to cover a very interesting topic, and our today's topic is building a full stack web app with React.js, Python and SQLite. It's a complete guide which will help us to create a full stack application with React.js, Python and SQLite as a database. So these are some prerequisites you need to install and be ready to create this full stack application. So as an editor, we are going to use Visual Studio Code, and for the front end, we are going to use these technologies. We are going to use React.js latest version 18.3.1, and we are going to use a React table library to create table and populate it with columns and data. And we are also going to use some functions and hooks available in this React table to achieve the functionalities like searching, sorting, and pagination part. And we are going to use Axios library to give a call to our backend REST APIs and to fetch the data and post or submit data to the backend REST APIs. On the backend side, we are going to use Python language, and in that we are going to use Django framework and Django REST framework. These are some web framework we can use with which like we are going to create and build the REST APIs, and it will help us to create CRUD operations, and these are the best framework we can use for web development in Python. And as a database, we are going to use SQLite, which is a default database which will come pre-configured with Python application. So these are some points which we are going to implement in sequence. Like first we will see architecture diagram, next I will show you the user interface small demo, and next like we will create a backend application using Python. And first we will create a backend application using Python Django framework. Next we will implement CRUD operations, and while implementing CRUD operations we are going to follow a sequence, like we will create a model serializer view and we will configure the URLs, and finally we will test our backend application using Django REST framework user interface. On the front end side, we are going to create the front end application using Vite. Next, like we are going to create a table using React table library, and we will integrate our front end API functionality with backend APIs. Like we are going to create some functions with which we are going to connect with our backend REST APIs. And we are going to also implement some core functionalities like searching, sorting and pagination using functions and hooks available in React table library. And finally we will test our application end to end through UI browser and verify the response for all the CRUD operations as well as the searching, sorting, pagination part. So this is the architecture. Like we are going to create a user system in which on the front end side we are going to create the user web app front end application using React.js, and in that we are going to use React table and Axios library. And on the backend side we are going to create user service, and we are going to use Python language, and in that we are going to use Django and Django REST framework to create REST APIs, and we are also going to test the APIs using the Django REST framework user interface. And as a backend side, we are going to use SQLite as a database, which is a default database which will come with our Python application. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and share, because at the end of the video you may forget to subscribe. That's why I'm requesting you to please like, subscribe and share. Now I will show you a small demo of our application, how our application will look like. Now here, this is the header part, and this is the add and edit panel, and this is the search filter, and this is the table along with columns and data, and this is the pagination section. Now here, to add any record we can use this, like here let's say username we have added, we can add the email part, and role we can add as a manager. And once we click on add button, the record will get added. You can see the record is added as the last record. So this is about addition. If you want to edit any record, let's say if you want to edit this record, we can simply click on edit button. The record will get populated into this. Now here instead of Sandeep we can use Rubab, and here we can use Rubab email, and here we can use it's a user, and we can click on update button. Okay, so the record is updated with Rubab. So with this our edit will work, and similar way if you want to delete any record, like you can simply click on this delete button, and once we click on OK as a confirmation, so the record will get deleted. Now you can see the record is deleted. So this is about all the CRUD functionality. Now if you want to filter the data or searching functionality, let's say if you want to, if we type K accordingly, what text we enter accordingly the data will get filtered out. Let's say it for Peter, and if you want to see all the managers, same script. Now the filter is working fine. Similar way we have implemented we are going to implement the uh, sorting functionality. Let's say here this is the sorting for username, this is for email, and this is for role. Fine. Now here we can say we are also going to apply the pagination to the table, and in that we have first, previous, and this is the page index, and this is the page count, next button, and last button. So initially we are on the first page, hence the first and previous button is disabled, which is as expected. Now once we click on next button, it will show the next 4 records. We can set how many records we want to show on the page, that number also we can set. Now accordingly it will keep on showing the next page, and once it reach on the last page, it will disable the next and last button, because we do not have any next page to show. Now similar way the previous will take us to the previous page, and once we reach on the first page, it will disable first and previous page. Once we click on last page, it will take us to the last. Once we click on first page, it will take us to the first page. This is about all the searching, sorting, and pagination, including the CRUD operations we are going to cover in this video. So I will request you to watch this from start to end, and please do not miss any step in between, so that you can replicate the similar application if you follow the steps in this. Now let us create our backend application using Python. So we are going to create a Django project. So here we can first open the VS Code instance, and this is the command we can use, and from here you can open a new terminal, and this is we are inside the terminal. Now first of all we can create one virtual environment using command python -1 venv, and here we can give our actual virtual environment name. So you can give any name. So why we can create this, like with this virtual environment we can keep our libraries and installation which are project specific inside this virtual environment, instead of using the global installation. So you can see this virtual environment is created with folders include lib and scripts. Now we need to activate this. So for that we can use, first we need to go to virtual environment, next we can go to scripts folder inside that, and we can use this activate command. Now you can see this virtual environment prompt is appearing, that means it is activated. Now next thing we need to install the dependencies. We can use this command pip install Django. We are going to install this framework, and next Django REST framework. So this Django REST framework will help us to create and build REST APIs in Python web development. Now if we can go to lib folder, and here we can see Django is installed. Similar way it will install the Django REST framework. Yes, we can see it is showing the version and all. Yes, this is the REST framework. Seems good. Now if you want to cross check like what all dependencies are installed, you can use this pip command, pip list, and it will show you all the libraries which we have installed. Now next thing what we can do, like we can create our actual Django Python project. So for that we can use the command like Django admin start project, and we can give our project name. In our case we can give user service. So this is the Python backend project we are going to create using Django. Next I will show you the project created. This is the user service project is created along with all the default files and folders including the manage.py file, and this is .setting.py. Fine. Now next thing we need to create one application. So for that we can use command python manage.py start app, and this is the API. We can name our application as an API, so wherein we are going to keep all our REST APIs. Okay, so first we need to go to our user service project. Yes, now we can give this command like to create a API. Now here it will create the API folder. Yes, you can see this API folder is created. This is an application inside our user service project backend application. Now here whatever REST API we are going to create, that all will be reside inside this API folder. Fine. Now next thing what we can create, we can first create one model. Before we create a model, first of all we need to add install the entries inside installed apps. Like we are going to use, these are the third party frameworks we are going to use. The REST framework we need to include, and we need to add our application we have just created. Okay, fine. And we do not need to configure the database part because it is already pre-configured, and by default it is using SQLite 3 SQLite database. Seems good, we can save it. Next thing we can create one model. So we can go it here and we can create one class, and we can use the user model we are going to create, and here we can use models dot model, and here we can use all the names fields which we are going to use. Models dot char field, and here we can give max length. For now we are giving 100. Similar way we can give one more thing, like this is for email, and next thing like we can use role. Now we can use so for string interpretation we can use this, and we can return self.name, and we can save it. Now we have successfully created model for user. We can save it. Next thing like we can create one serializer. So here we can use serializer.py. Now why this serializer is needed? Because to convert our model instance into the JSON format we require serializers, and we can import it from REST framework. Next we are going to import our model which we have just created, which is a user. Now let us create our serializer class. You can say user serializer, and here we can use serializers dot, we can use model serializer, and here we can use class as a meta, and here we can use like for model we are going to use user, and what all fields we are going to serialize. Like here we can mention all fields. So that's it. We have created user serializer, and the purpose of creating the user serializer is to convert the model instance into the JSON format. Okay, fine. Now next thing, like we need to create a few. Now here first of all we can import what all things required for views. Can import view sets. Next we need to import our model, and which is user, and we need to import our serializer. Now let us create one class, like we can say user view set, and here we can use view set dot model view set. This is the class we can use, and here we can use query set, and we can use user dot objects dot all. We can use this, and serializer class we can use, which is the user serializer in our case, since code, and we can save it. So we can see, like, to create a view in Python Django, using the Django framework, Django REST framework. So we have various options available, like we can use create a class based view, function based view, mixin or custom, and we can use using the view set. Okay, and we are using this view set because this is the recommended approach, and which is a popular approach for creating a view in Django REST framework inside Python web development. Okay, that's why we have taken this option. Now with this model view set, this class will provide automatic actions for creating, retrieving, destroying, and updating the CRUD operations or API related operations. Fine. Now next thing what we can do, next we need to like configure our URLs, like we can use. So before we configure the URL, so let us do, first we can migrate, do the migration part. For that we can use Python manage.py, and so let me clear this. Okay, so we can use Python manage.py, and this is the command we can use, make migration, since good. Now this will create a database specific file to create a database schema on the database side. So you can see this db.sqlite file is created. Now to do the actual migrations, we can use migrate command. With this it will create all the tables on the backend side which are necessary. Now this is SQLite, which is a binary file, so we can close this. Okay, fine. Now it has successfully migrated. Next thing, we need to configure the URL part. So for that we need to create one application specific URLs, and this is the file we can create, and here we can configure the URLs. Now here what we have done, we have similar way we need to configure the project specific URL. So we have added this entry, which is application specific URL we have included inside our project specific URLs. That's it. Now next thing what we can do, we are done with all these things. Now let us run our application using command python manage.py, and we can use our run server command so that it will run our development server. Yes, we can see it has started successfully. Now let me open this URL, and what endpoint we are going to use. Like this is the URL, it has opened. Now to add the endpoint, first of all we can use this API, and if we go inside our application specific URLs, we will find this is the users endpoint we need to add. So for that, here we can use API and users endpoint we can add. Fine. Now you can see this is the Django REST framework. It will provide the UI for us. So instead of using the post, we can use the post one as well. But right now the Django REST framework has provided the UI for adding and retrieving, updating and deleting operations. So we can make use of. So this is the empty array it is showing, because empty list, because we have not created any user. So let us create one user. Let's say it's a Peter, and here we can add Peter Gmail and a role. Let's say it's a manager. We can create. So you can see one record is created successfully. Let us add Kevin. Which is a guest. Let us add one more record. Let us say Sachin, or yes, and here we can add Sachin related Gmail ID, and we can say it's a role is a user. Okay, so we have created three different records. We can see now this is the list it is showing as expected. Now if you want to retrieve specific record, let's say Sachin, if you want to retrieve, so we can pass the ID and it will fetch the record, and it will populate all the entries like username, email and role inside this text boxes. Populate. Fine. Now if I want to modify this record, like instead of, you can see once it is populated, the put button is appearing at here. Now here instead of Sachin, we can use like we can use Prakash. We are going to modify this and check how it works. This is the Prakash email, and let us say it is a guest user, and we can put yes. So we can see it has modified successfully. Now similar way, now let us check the list, like it has modified. Similar way, if you want to delete any record, first we need to go to the record first using this ID. Now this is the record for third record, and you can see this delete option is there. Once we click on delete, it will ask for the confirmation. Once we click on delete, the record will get deleted. Now if you click on list, it will show only two records, because the third record we have just deleted. Now if you want to check the like actual database, like if you want to check inside actual database, so we can use this SQLite online platform, which will shows the user interface, and from here you can click on this. Now first of all I will show you the, this is our physical location of the project. Now here this is our db.sqlite file which has created after successful migration. Now we need to open this file so that it will show all the data. Now here this is the add button of this SQLite. So this is the SQL online platform. Now here once we click on add button, it will open show the option to open the file. Now you need to point to the, so this is our, okay, so this is the folder we need to point to, and this is the file. Once we open, so it will show all the now you can see it has opened all the tables and files which are present there. Now this is our table, and which has column like id, username, email, and role. Now if we right click on this one, it will show you all the options like select, insert, delete, rename. So we can select this. Now it will show, it is showing the two records which we have just created. So if you want to verify your records, you can use this online platform, SQLite online.com. Now let us create our front-end application using React.js, and these are some steps and sequences which we are going to follow to create this React.js application. So first of all, this is the terminal for our Python project, which is user underscore service. Similar way, we can create one more terminal for React.js application. Now here we can first create our React.js application using command npm create with @latest, and we can give our project name, which is in our case it's a user underscore web. Now we can choose React option, and we can choose JavaScript, and we can go to our project folder, which is user underscore web, and here next we can install the dependencies using command npm install. In the left pane you can see this user underscore web React.js project is created along with all the default files and folders, and this is the package.json wherein it will include all the libraries which we are using. Now we can see it has installed dependencies. Now next thing, we can run our application using command like, let me clear it. We can run our application using command npm run dev. Now we can copy this URL and we can open our browser. Now we can see our application is running fine. Seems good. Now let us clear the existing files, and we can make a fresh start. So for that, what we can do, like this is app.jsx, we can clear the file content. Next we can clear this unnecessary import which is not needed. Seems good. And again count we can remove. Fine. Next thing, we can remove everything from app.css and we can save it. In index.html we can remove this icon for React.js. Next, here we can change the title. We can give some meaningful title like it's a full stack plus React plus Python and plus is SQLite database it is going to use. Okay, we can copy it. Fine. Now we can start from here. First of all, we can create one main div which we call it as a, we can is a user, let's say container. This is the main div inside which we are going to create one header, and this is the header of ours Next we can create one more div which will contain like add panel, add and edit panel, and here we can create so this is the add and edit panel, and next we can create one input search. This is for filter purpose. Sorry, input, it should be input search. Now here we can type like it's a input search, and we can give some class name same as that. Now here we can add some placeholder like this is for search users here, and we can save it. Now we can see it is appearing it here. Now let us add some CSS part to this. Now first of all, this is the main container. Next we have h3 header. Next we have add edit panel, and after this we have input search. So these are four things like this is user container, add edit panel, and input search. For all this we can add the CSS part. So first of all we can mention some width for this one, let's say 587 pixel. Next height, fit content, and next we can add some margin left. Margin left we can say it's a 75 pixel, and we can save it. Okay, seems good. Now for header we can add some color, and we can use this color blue violet. And for add and edit panel we can add the border first, 1 pixel solid. Next we can add some width. We can add some width like same width as 587 pixel. Height we can add somewhere 60 pixel, and we can save. Now let us add some color for this one, like we can add background color, and this is the background color we can add, seems good. Or if you want we can take some light color. Okay, fine. Now after this we can add our search input search. We can add some margin top, let's say 30 pixel, and we can add one border like 1 pixel solid. Next we can add border radius like 5 pixel. Next we can add some height, let's say 25 pixel. Next after height we can set some width, let's say 211 pixel, and we can add some background color. So for this background color we can add, let us see Azure how it looks, seems good, but it is somewhat, so let us add some different color it here. Okay, fine. Now next thing, so we have main container, added CSS for main container. This is the header, this is the add edit panel, and this is the search input. Now inside this panel add edit we can add some text boxes. So here we can create one more div, and we can name it like this is the add edit div. Inside this we can create one label, and this is for username, and here we can give it's a username. And after this we can add one input text, and here we can say it's a username. Same, we can edit it here for ID, and we can give some class name, let's say for username input, and we can save it. Now here we can add one line break. Seems good. So let us add some CSS for this one so that it will look good. So this is for div, add panel div. So we can add some margin left, let's say 5 pixel. Next we can add display, it's inline block, and we can save it. Next we have some input inside this, like this is the input, and for this we can add some CSS part. Now we can add border and border radius like this one. Next thing we can add some height, let's say 25 pixel. We can add some width, let's say 140 pixel. Next we can add some background color, and we can use this background color. Seems good. So this is for username. Now similar way we can add two more labels and text boxes. We can repeat this div part. This is for username. Similar way we can add one for email and one for role. So this is for email, and this should be the label. Okay, so class name if we keep as is, that is fine. Now here this is for email, we can copy it. Okay, and here, so instead of user we can say this is like, we can say it's a div input, so that will be common. It seems good because it is not just for username, it is for all these three inputs. So that's it, fine. Now it seems good. This is the common for all these three divs. This is for username, this is for email, and this is for again role. Now here we can say it's for role, and here we can add role, and we can save it. Now we can see how it looks. Seems good. Now these are three. Now after this we can add button, like first button is for add, and we can add some class name like it's for add button. Now similar way we can add one more button, and this is for cancel button, and we can say it's for cancel, and we can save it. Now we have this add and cancel. Now let us add some CSS part to these two. Now here same way. Now here we have add btn. Now we can repeat these two, and we can add like font size, let's say 11 pixel. Next line height we can use 15 pixel, and we can add some margin left as an 5 pixel, and we can save it. Now it seems good. Now here we can add some width, like let's say it's a 60 pixel. Seems good. And let us add some background color as well. Let us take some background color, like, okay, fine. Now we can make it some lighter color. Seems good. Now this is for add btn. Similar way we can repeat it for delete btn, cancel btn, cancel button. Okay, and we can save it. Seems good. Now here we can take some other color. Instead of green we can use something else. Let us see how it looks. So no, not for this one. Okay, seems good. This is the cancel and this is the add button. Now we are done with all these add and edit panel. Now next thing what we can do, we can create the table part. So after this is our end of user div. Now here we can add one table entry and we can give some class name. Let's say it's a table. And inside this table usually we have two things, like first is a t head and other is a t body. Now here for t head we have rows in which we have header part. Similar way for t body we have rows inside which we have td part for data. So this is about the usual structure or normal structure we used to follow to create a table. Now let us see how we can use the hooks and functions available in React table. So for that what we can do, first of all we need to the uh, install the dependency first. So let us do that here. Let me close this. Okay, so here what we can do, we can install the dependency using command npm install, and we need React table library and we need Axios library. So a React table we can use to create a table, and we can use the hooks and functions available in that, and for Axios we can use to give a call to our backend APIs from our front-end application. Seems good. Now if you check into package.json, you can see the React table is there and Axios library is there. Now let us use that in our application. Now first of all we can add some import for these two, like we are going to use this hook use table, and this is from our React table we are going to use. Next thing, like we are going to use star as React from React, and next we are going to import the Axios, like we are going to Axios from Axios. That's it. Now we can save it. Now let us use these things, like first of all we can create some constant. First constant we can create to store the users array or users list, and we can use some set users setter method, and we can use this use state so that we can initialize it with some empty array. Next thing, we can define one column constant for columns, wherein we can use this react.useMemo, and inside this we can use initialize it with some array, dependency array, and here we can use the header. For column part we can first use header, and this is for user ID, and we can use accessor, and we can give accessor as an ID. So this is for first column. Similar way what we can do, we can add few more columns, and it's a comma separated. Now next is a user name, and here we can give some, this is the username, and this is for email, we can use it like email, and this is for role, and here we can use role. So these many columns we require, we have created columns. Fine. Now next thing what we can do, like we can create one constant for data, and here we can use like react.useMemo, and here we are passing the users as a data, and we can initialize it with some dependency array. Fine. Now we have users, columns, and data. Next thing, we need to create one table constant, and we are going to use table hook, and inside which we are going to use pass the columns and data For data we are going to assign users, and we are done. Now we have columns, data, users, everything is ready. Now let us see how we can use this. Now this is our table part. Here we can use the actual things. We can use the hooks available in this, like we can use first of all, like, okay, so before we do that, here instead of this one, because here we have created the table, so table has a lot many functions and libraries available. So instead of that we can use the specific libraries, like what all things we are going to use: get table props, like get table body props, next header groups, like next rows we are going to use, and we can use prepare row. So this much is enough for now. As we need more functions, we can keep adding. Now let us use these hooks inside table, like we can use get table props. So this is for table. Now here we have t head. For t head, inside t head we can use like header groups dot, we can map on header groups for each header group. Okay, so for each header group we can use this bracket, and inside that now it is going to render the tr row part. Now we can cut this row part and we can edit it here. Now for each row we have some, like we need to use the hooks available for rows. Now here we can use, like we have hg dot get header groups props, and here we can use like some key as an hg dot id. Now after this we can use for hg dot headers, we can call map on this, and here we can say for each column we are going to render this header. We can cut it and add inside this one. Now here for each header we are going to use, like we have column dot get column dot get header props we can use, and here we can use some key which is column dot id, and here we are going to actually render our header part. For that we can use column dot render, and what we are going to render, that is the header, and this header is nothing but what we have defined it here. So all these headers will get shown on the screen. Okay, we have saved it. Okay, fine, we saved it. Now why it is showing red it here? Unexpected token. So here hg dot headers. Now here th end, this is the tr end. Inside tr we have hg dot headers dot map, which is fine. Here hg dot get header props for row, get header group props, which is fine. Okay, here we can use simply hg.headers.map and we can save it. Seems good. Now let us check if it is rendering the header part, t head part for this one. Now we can save it. Now what we can do, we can run our application and check how it goes. Npm run dev. Yes, we can see it is showing the headers. Okay, fine. Now let us add the body part as well, and then we can check for go for CSS part. Okay, now here similar way, here now we can add the body part. Now here we can use get table body props. Next here Now here we have added get table body props. Now inside this we can add like rows dot, we can use map, and here for each row we can iterate on that, and we can add. Okay, so first of all for each row we can call prepare row, and here we can add this row part. Next thing, like we are going to return, and here inside this return what we are going to add, like we are going to add this row, we are going to return the row. Now we can cut this and add it here. Okay, fine. Now here for each row, t body row, we are going to use like row dot get. So we can use get. So here it should be 3 dots, get row props, and here we can add some key like row dot id. Now next thing, now for here for each row dot, we can iterate on cells, and here we can for each cell like we can iterate on cells, and for each cell we are going to use now here inside this we are going to render the data part. We can cut it and add it here. Fine. Now here we can use for cell, can use get cell props, and here we can add one key which is like cell.id, and here we are going to render the actual cell part, so we can use cell.render, and what we are going to render, it's a cell, and we can save it. Fine. Now we are done with our body part as well, we can save it. Now it is not showing any data because we have not given a call. So what we can do, first of all, we can add some CSS part, or let us see why the data is not coming, and then we can apply the CSS part. Okay, now we can save it. Now we can see only headers it is showing. Fine. Now let us add one get API, so that we have not written any function which will give a call to backend API. So let us add one get API, and here we can use get, let's say get all users. This is the function we are going to use, and here we can use axios.get, and what is the backend URL, we need to copy that, like this is our backend URL. We can use it, I can say API and users, and here we can say then for response we can collect the response, and we can log it like response.data, and we can use set users as response.data. That's it. Now still it is not showing data because as of now we have not given any call to this get all users. Now let us do that, like here we can use react use effect, and here we can give a call to get all users, and here we can initialize it with some dependency array. That's it, and we can save it. Now still it is not showing any data, so let us check why it is not showing any data. First of all, we can verify if our backend application is running. Seems good, it is running. Now our front end application is also running. Now let me copy this URL and check on the browser so that we can see. Let us check the console part. Okay, so here it is like from origin this has been blocked by course policy. So this is the course origin issue. Now we need to fix this issue first, so that front-end application will establish a communication, or will communicate or interact with the backend application. So for that we need to fix this. Now let us go to our let us do for this. Now let me open one more terminal, and here now here we can go to our backend service, which is user service, or else first of all we can go to our virtual environment. Okay, so this is we need to activate the virtual environment, which is this is the virtual environment folder. It should be .it here, and here we can inside that we have script, and we can activate it. If you are not using the virtual environment, then you can directly install this command. Okay, but we are using the virtual environment, that's why we are activating it. Now we need to install like Django. There is a library Django course, and we can use headers. So this is the library available, we need to install to handle the course origin issue. Fine, it has successfully installed. If you want to cross check, you can open this, and here not at here like in our Python project, you need to go to the libraries or pip list, you can check. This is the virtual environment, and if you go inside library, so you can check course headers is there. Okay, fine, seems good. Now next thing what we can do, we have added the course header, that is the one thing. Now next thing, like we need to open the settings.xml inside this user service. Okay, so this is the Python project. Now here we need to make an entry for this course header, like this is the course headers which need to add into installed apps. Next thing, like we need to make an entry, like it's a course headers dot middleware dot, we can say, course middleware. This is the one more entry we need to add. You can cross check, there should not be any spelling mistake. Now next thing, to enable the course we need to add one more thing at here. Like what we can do, like we can add course and allowed origins. Like in our Spring applications we used to add the allowed Spring origin inside course origin. We used to add the list of host name or domains. Now here we can add our front end URL. So this is our front end URL, we can copy, and in our allowed origin we can add this entry. If you want to allow all the origins, like we can simply use course allow all origins, and we can make it as a true. This will allow all the origins, but right now we can simply add this our React.js URL we are allowing to. Now we have saved it, fine. Now let us check by refreshing. Seems good. Now it is showing the data. Okay, so we have two records at the backend side, and we can check at the backend side, like these are the only two records we have. Seems good. Now here, next thing what we can do, let us add some CSS part for this one. Now we have given the class name as a table. Now let us add that. Here we have table. Now we can add some margin, let's say top 12 pixels somewhere, and we can add some width, like same width as above, or like for the container, and height we can say fit content. We can add border like 1 pixel solid. Next we can add border collapse as an collapse. This is like there should not be any redundant border. And next thing, like we can add text align as a center. You can save it. Now here it is not showing the username, so let us check why it is not showing the username. Okay, so here we are using username, and here accessor should be small n username. Seems good. Now it is showing. Okay, fine. Now let us add some header. So this is aligned text. Now let us add some header part, and for header part we need to add some CSS. So we can add some border, this is, and here we can add some font size, let's say 15 pixel, and we can add some line height, let's say 18 pixel, and we can add some background color. Now let us use some background color, like we can use this, or let us check how it, if we use this background color, how it looks. Now it seems good, Fine. Now we can give some color for rows, and let's say in child we can use, and for every even row we can give some color. We can use some background color, and let us use like coral color. You can save it. Now it seems good. Fine. Now we have this CSS in place. Now what next we can do? Now our get API is working fine. Next thing what we can do, so we can check for our post API. So before we go for post API, first of all what we need to do, once we enter any text at here, so that text we need to capture into some constant variable or bean. So for that we need to define some constant. Let's say here we can define one constant. For that constant we can say user data, and there is a setter for user data, and here we can use use state. Inside this we can use first of all username, which is a blank. Email, we can initialize it to the blank, and next thing we have role, which is again blank. Seems good. Now we can save it. Now we have this variable or constant we have declared, which will hold whatever we enter inside this one. Now here next thing what we need to do, here for this input part we need to use value, and for this value we can use user data dot username. Now let's say here we can type something, and if we change that text, so it should handle the change event. Okay, so we can use on change, and here we can say handle changed data. Okay, so this is the event it should handle. Now we can define this constant, and here we can add one function like constant, and this is the handle. Here is the event handle change the data, and we can use set user data. And for this what we can use, like we have here what we are going to set, like it's a user data, and for this user data what we are going to set, like it's a target dot name. We are going to set with e dot target dot value. Okay, so this is fine. Now here this will set the whatever, if we change the text in our text boxes, that time it will get used. Fine. Now let us see how it works now. So this is this value. Now this value is for username. Similar way we need to add for rest of the things, like this is for uh, email, so we can use it's for email. Similar way we can add it for role, and this is for role. Fine. Okay, now if we check it here, fine. Now let us see, if you want to check you can console it. Now once we enter something, that will get captured hold into this user data, it will get set into the user data. Now next thing we need to submit that, so by using the post data. Okay, so for that this is our add button. Here we can use on click event, and here we can say handle add and edit, because we are going to use this add button for two purpose, add and edit. Okay, so here we can define one constant after this, like you can use constant add or edit, and here we can use async event and e dot like prevent default we can use. And next thing we are going to use await, as we are going to use async, we can use await and axios. Now here we can copy this part, this much, and check. Okay, fine. Now here we need to use post method because we are going to post the data, and here we can use the backtick, and here we are going to pass the actual user data, okay, which should get posted or created on the backend side. Okay, fine. Now here for post method we do not need to set users, we can remove this, seems good. Now after this, like we can use this. Now let us check how it works. Now we have two records. Now let us add one entry, like it's Ajay, and here we can add Ajay at the rate gmail.com, and next role of the Ajay is a manager. Now Ajay is getting added, but only after we refresh it. Now to avoid the refresh, what we can do, we need to call get all users after this. Now what happens, whatever we enter it here, once we add that entry should get cleared as well. Now for that what we can do here, we can use clear all, and inside this function we can keep, like we can define one constant like clear all, and inside which we can give a call to get all users. Okay, and before we call this get all users we need to clear the text boxes. So for that what we can do, like we can copy this part, and here we can set user data, and inside this we can use this, like we can make all these text boxes as a blank. So what we have done, just to avoid the refresh part, so we need to give a get clear all users call, but before we give the get clear users we are simply clearing these text boxes, and next to that we are calling this get all users method. Now let us add one more entry and check whether it is getting added without refreshing the page, like okay. So here we can add David, and email is David at the rate gmail.com, and role, let's say it's a manager. Now it seems good. Now we have not refreshed the data and it is getting added as expected, seems good. Now this is about like post method and user creation we are done with. Next thing what we can do, we need to go for edit purpose, edit and delete part. Now for that, first of all we need to add edit and delete button as an action buttons in this, so let us do that. So before we go ahead, like okay, fine, so let us do that. First we can add edit and delete button. Now this is the header part. For each column we need to add one more header, like this is for edit, and for edit we need to add id as well, and we can say edit at here, and this is the accessor. Inside this we can use edit, and after this, like we can use like cell. Now for cells we can use props, and for props we can use, like inside this we can add one button, like this is the button, and here we can use this is for edit, and we can add some class name like edit button. So this is for edit button we have added. Now similar way we need to add one more button which is for delete button. Okay, so this is the delete button, and the id is delete, accessor is delete, and we can give the class name as a delete button. Fine, we can save it. Now it is showing edit and delete button. Okay, now let us add some minimal CSS for edit and delete button. Now here we can add edit button. Now here for edit and delete button, first of all we can add a border radius and border part. Next thing we can add font size. Sorry, it should be font size. Let's say 10 pixel. Next thing, line height we need to add, let's say 12 pixel, and we can add the background color as well. So background color we can take, like, this is the green, and we can add some width. Let's say width we can use somewhere 50 pixel. So this is for edit button. Similar way we can use the same properties for delete button. So this is the delete button, and we can save it. Now it seems good. Now for delete button we can change, take some other color, like we can use okay, so this is like, so instead of this, so we can use some other color. Not like this one. Now let us say take something different color which should suit. Let us take some light color. Let us add red. Let us check. Okay, now it is somewhat matching, or else if we want we can take some color. So this is very much bright. Okay, seems good. Now it seems good. Fine. So we have delete and edit button. Now what next we can do? Let us go to here. Now once we click on edit button, so here whatever row is there, that entry should get that data should get populated at this level. So for that, what we can do, now this is our edit button. What we can do, we can use on click button, and here we can use populate user data. For this we can use so this is the function, and here we need to pass, like we are going to use props dot, on props we can call cell, and on cell we can access row, and from row we can use original. So this is what we are going to pass. Okay, fine. Now this is about on click. Now we need to define this function for this one. Now we can define constant, and here we can use like this is related to the user, we are going to capture, and here we can use set user data, and here we can use set the user which we have received from here. Okay, now sorry, this should be like bracket, but we can edit it here and we can remove this. Okay, fine. Now it should get populated here. Now let us click on this one and check. Seems good, fine, it is getting added. Now this is about what. Now once we modify this one and click on add button, so once we click on edit button, this label should get uh, changed to update, because we are not adding, we are updating. Okay, fine. So let us go to add button. So this is our add. Okay, now here what we can do, we can use like if user data dot id is there, then we can use update. That means id is there, that means it the label should be update, or else it should use add label. Okay, fine, seems good. Now we can save it. Now here we can see it is changed to update. Now once we click on cancel, this text should get cleared, and this uh, it should be become the add button. Okay, so let us do that. Now on click of cancel, so this is our, where is our add button. So this is the add button, and here we can add, on click of cancel we can add handle cancel, and here we can define one constant for handle cancel, and here we can set user data, and this is the what we are going to set, like we are going to clear this one on cancel, and we are going to, okay fine, yes. Now let us set it. Now once we click on cancel, it will get cleared and add is coming as expected. Seems good, fine. Now next thing what we can do, so let's say if we have modified something at here, and once we click on update button, that record should get updated. Now let us do that part. Now as this handle function is for add and edit one. Okay, now here we can, let us check, here we can add the condition, like the condition is like if like user data dot id is there, we should go for updation, like here we should go for update function, else we should go for addition, add or create user. Okay, now we have this addition logic, we can cut it and add it here. Similar way, for updation we need to add it here. Okay, so this is for updation. Now here for updation we need to use either put or patch method. We can use put method, and for updation, like here we need to pass, like let's say here id as well. We can say user data dot id we need to pass, and here we are also passing the modified data which need to be saved. This is the if. Okay, so here, okay, so here we need to add one more bracket. This should be it here. Okay, so here, okay, so let us revert it. Okay, so this is for add, so we have added, this is for add, and here it is completing. Similar way we can copy this part, this is for update. Now for update and update method we can use either put or patch method, and here as we know that we need to add the user ID as well. So here we can use user data dot id. So we are passing user I for this user ID. This is the modified data which will get updated. Fine. Now what next? Now let us check if it is working as expected. Now here we can update the record. Now let us see, here is the Peter. Let us edit this. Instead of Ajay we can use it like Vijay, and here we can use Vijay email, and instead of manager it is a user, and we can update. Now let us refresh. Now it is not updated. Okay, so why it is not updated? Because this is axios.put method dot id. So this is we are checking if user data and id is there, then go for put method. This is the API users and this is the data. Okay, we need to add slash it here. Now let us check. We can take Ajay. Instead of Ajay we can add Vijay, and this is the Vijay, and here we can use user, and seems good. Now it is updated. You can see it is updated. That means update is working fine. Now next thing what we can do, we can go for deletion. Now we have this on click for edit purpose. Now similar way we can add for delete, on click for delete. Now here we can say handle delete. Now let us use this function. Now here we can use constant for handle delete, and we can use a sync, and this is the event. And this is not event, actually this is the user which we are passing from here. This is the user row we are passing from this row, user we are passing, and we are collecting it here. Now to call the delete method we can copy this patch method code, and here we can use delete. And actually to delete the record we do not need to pass whole data, only id is enough. Okay, fine. And for deletion, like we need to set the user list, because user list is changed now. So for that reason we can use response.data. We can use response.data right here. Okay, this is the user, and this user id we need to use instead of user data, and we have saved it. Seems good. Now we have handle delete. Now here for deletion, like we need to ask the confirmation whether it needs to be deleted or not. Okay, so we can add like is confirmed, and here we can use window dot confirm method, and here we can use are you sure you want to delete. Okay, so this is, and here inside if block we can check if is confirmed, that means we have clicked on OK button for deletion, that time only it should delete the record. Now this is the for deletion. Okay, seems good. Now we do not need to refresh the data once we delete, so for that we can use like window dot like location dot reload, we can use this method. Seems good. Fine. Okay, now let us check the delete part. Now here we can copy this and we can check on the browser. Okay, so let us delete the last entry. Once we click on, yes, we can see the last entry is deleted, which is of David. Seems good. Our deletion is working fine. Now we have done all the CRUD operations. Now next thing what we can do, let us implement searching, sorting and pagination using this one. So let us do that. Now here we can use the hooks available for filter, like this is the use global filter we can use, and same filter we need to add it here, like this is our, after this we can add use global filter, and here we can add set to global filter method, and here we can define one constant for global filter, like we can use global filter, and this is the state, and the same state we can add it here, and we can save it. Okay, now once we enter any text state here, that time it should filter accordingly. For that what we need to do, like this is our search filter. Where is our search filter? So yeah, this is our search filter. Now here we can use value is equal to, we can use global filter, or we can use empty when there is no text into the text box. Once we change the text state here, accordingly the search filter should show the different result. For that reason we can add on change event. Okay, so this is the on change, and for on change we can add this is the, we need to catch the event, and here we can use like set to global filter, and here what we can set, e dot target dot value. So this should get set for global filter. Seems good. Now let us check how it works. Now we have only 3 records, like we need to add actual more records, but let us see. Now here we can use Peter. Seems good. It is like filtering for Peter. Let us say for manager. Okay, so let us add one more entry and check for manager, like we can add Robin @gmail.com, and role we can say it's a manager. Now we can add it. Seems good. Now we can search for the manager and see it should show 2 records. Seems good. It is showing 2 records. The filter is working as expected. Fine. Now next thing we can use implement our sorting logic. So for that we can use it here, like use sort by we can use, and the same we can add it here. Now wherever we are rendering the column, at that place we need to use this. Now here this is our column part, and this is the get header props we are using. Now for get header props, in this like we can use column dot get sort by, we can use toggle props. So this is the function get sort by toggle props. So this is the important function we can use so that it will get sorted, columns will get sorted. Now let us check how it works. You can see it is getting sorted. Seems good. This is for email, this is for role. Now what next we can do, like we can add like this header part. Okay, so this is the header part, and here what we can do, we can add one more entry for, like let's say if we want to add some icon, we can use column dot is sorted, and then what we can do, we can add some span, and inside the span we can use, let's say column dot is sorted DAC descending order if there is a descending order sorting. Now here we can use like we can use Windows column option, and it will add the up arrow for this one, or else we can use Windows column and we can add down arrow. Okay, seems good. Now we can give some space so that it will show. Now let us see how it shows. Now we can see the arrow is appearing. Seems good. Fine. Okay, seems good. Now our sorting is done on column sorting. Now next thing, we can use the pagination. For that, here what we can do, here we can use pagination. This hook we can use, and here we can add the same, use pagination. And next thing, for pagination, so here instead of rows we need to use page, because we are going to use page, and here wherever we are using the rows, at that place we need to use page. Fine. Next thing, here below this table we can add our pagination div, and we can call this like page div, class name. Now inside this we can add like button, one button for, let's say, first, and we can give class name, sorry, class name as a, we can use page button. So this is for first. Similar way we can add few more buttons, like this is for previous, or we can say pre, and this is for next, and this is for last. Okay, fine. Now we can see this is appearing. Now let us add some CSS part for all these, like we have page div and page button. We can add some margin top, let's say 5 pixel. Now next thing, here for page div, page button, what is the spelling, page button, we can copy, and for page button we can add border like 1 pixel solid. Next we can add margin left as 5 pixel. Next we can add font size let's say 10 pixel. We can add line height. For line height we can use 12 pixel. After line height we can use border radius, let's say 5 pixel, and after border radius we can use width we can mention some 45 or 50 pixel, and we can add some background color. Let's say we can add something like, which color we can take, let us take this one. It seems good. Okay, fine. Now it is looking perfect. Fine. Now let us add the functionality, like whenever we click on previous and next button, it should show the previous and next pages. Now first of all we can add few more records. Okay, so here we have Robin. Now we can add let's say Robert as well, and here Robert @gmail.com, and here we can add it's a user. Next we can add, let's say, Kamala, and here we can add Kamala @gmail.com, and its role, let's say, guest. We can add one more, like we can add for searching, and here we can add searching @gmail.com, and role we can add guest. We can add one more, like let's say Vaishali, and here can add Gmail for her. Here role we can say we have user, manager, and let us add one more, manager. Seems good. Now we have 9 records. Let us add one more record. Let's say we can add Hari. We can add Hari @gmail.com, and here role we can say it's a guest. We can add Sam. So for pagination we need more records, that's why I'm adding few more records so that it will look good. Fine. Now I will show the pagination part here. Let us first of all we can set some data, like here this is the hook, we are using it here. Now what we can do, we can define some initial state at here for pagination. Not at here, we have this users. After users we can add like initial state, and for this we can use like page, and we can use page size. Let's say we can take 4 records per page. Okay, so page size 4 records. Seems good. Now you can see it is showing 4 records per page. Now we have 10 or 12 records. Now once I click on next button, it should show next 4 records. For that, what we can use, so here is our next button, where this is the next button. Here we can use on click, and here for this next button we can use like next page. Similar way, for previous we can use like previous page, and these are the available hooks we can use. Now this is our, we can add previous page and we can add next page and we can save it. Now let us check how it works. Now here we can refresh it. Now once we click on next button, it is showing next 4 records, and this is the last 2 records. Okay, similar way, once we click on previous, it will show the previous records. Seems good. Previous and next is working. Now let us work for first and last. Now first will show. Now here inside this previous and next, we should show the count and page index and count. Let us do that. Now we can add one span, and here we can use page index plus 1. So page index is basically start from 0, so we want to show the first page every time we are on the first page, and here we can use of like page count. Okay, so we need to add page index and page count. Let's say here we can add page count, and here we can add page index. We can save it. Now it is showing 1 of 3. We are on the first page. It will show 2 of 3 and 3rd of 3. Seems good. Now it is working fine. Now here it is very much closed. Now we can add the CSS, small CSS for this one, like this is the span, and we can give some class name like idx, and for this idx we can add only margin left idx. We can add a margin left as 5 pixel. That's it. Seems good. Now it seems good. Now next thing, we have seen like this page and page count. Now first and last button we need to implement. Now for this, like on click button, now here whenever we are on the first page, it should disable first and previous buttons, because we do not have any previous page to show. That part we can implement now. Here for first and last, we can say disabled is equal to, we can say can previous page. If there is no previous page, it should disable these 2 buttons. Okay, similar way for next page, and here can next, if there is no next page, it should disable next page and last page. Now let us add the entry for these 2. This is for previous page, and one entry for next page we can add. This is the next page, and we can save it. Now we can see that these 2 buttons are disabled because we are on the first page. Similar way, once we reach the last page, next and last button will get disabled. Seems good. Now it is working as expected. Now next thing, like first and last button we can enable, or we can add the functionality. Now here we can add go to it here, so that we can reach this is the go to page. We can use, and here on click of first and last, so this is the first one, and here we can add on click, and we can use go to, and here it should be 0th count. So for this go to we can use like go to, and here it should be churros count, that means this is the first page, and similar way we need to add only for the last page, and here it should be like page count -1. Seems good. Now let us check how it works. Now we are on the first page. Once we click on last page, it will take us to the last page. Once we click on first page, it will take us to the first page. Now with this we are done with all our CRUD operations as well as searching, sorting, pagination part. So I hope you must have enjoyed. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching this.